Oh, hey guys. Anytuber knotsuchan here. I recently took a look at my analytics for the first time in a year, and I've realized that a lot of the subscribers I've gained are coomers, and I'm here to say that that is not good. You'll notice that, despite their popularity, I haven't uploaded any hentai reviews in quite some time, and while the reason for that may seem like it's because I almost got my channel taken down, it's actually because I'm reformed now, and you should be too. Now look, I understand that hentai does have a lot of benefits. For one, it allows for limitless possibilities. One of the key features of animation is to add a little bit of spice to our media that can't be found in, well, let's call them 3D people. Without the use of CGI and special effects, 3D people can't be stretched, they can't have boulders dropped on them, they can't have tentacles shoved throughout their whole body, and the jiggle physics of their titties often leaves a lot to be desired. Animation lifts our physical restrictions and allows for any and all of our desires to come to light. Now, despite these benefits, I do believe that most people are better off without hentai in their lives. The dopamine reward system triggered by porn and hentai functions similarly to that of crack, meaning that desensitization and addiction are pretty imminent if one is not careful, and hentai as a medium throws careful out the window. I'd like to illustrate my point via this chart, which shows the progression of somebody who becomes a hentai addict. I call this chart knotsuchan stages of cooming. Most people start off as the bloomer coomer. This is just the natural early stage of your average coomer. They probably only watch 3D porn, maybe they've bookmarked a few things, but it hasn't really affected their life at all. They might be a twice a weeker, a thrice a week, or even a once a dayer. Whatever it is, it's more frequently than they're going to church, that's for sure. But still, at no point are they sabotaging their relationships or their obligations for the sake of cooming. They can fit into society as a normal person and have normal interactions with others. They may even have a girlfriend, and they've probably only faintly heard of 4chan. Then, with enough time on the internet, and by that I mean about 28 seconds, they may come across animated porn, otherwise known as hentai, even if it was made in the West. First, they might start off with like a relatively normal hentai like Soshi Soai Junai Mellow Yori, where it's just two adults having consensual sex. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe the proportions of the women are getting a little bit unrealistic, but not too strange. Maybe they alternate between watching 3D porn and hentai. Maybe it depends on how they're feeling that day, what kind of stuff popped up in their Twitter feed. Maybe whether or not the cute cashier at the gas station winked at them, and whether or not they can find a video on XNXX of a girl that looks like her. This is known as the it's cooming stage. Now, you can still be a once a dayer and still be in this stage, but you might be a twice a day or maybe even 3 times a day. It all depends on what kind of porn you're consuming and how it's affecting your life. And this brings us to the coomer consumer. This is somebody who has begun paying for OnlyFans accounts or paying for the Patreons of hentai artists in hopes of fulfilling some kind of fetish that probably can't be found on the Pornhub homepage. They've become relatively desensitized to normal porn, and they can really only indulge in their specific interests, unless they were to take like a no-fat break or something, which could reset them a few stages in this here diagram, but that's unlikely at this point. Oh, and somewhere around these stages, you might become a 4-dimensional coomer. This is known as having sex. This is just a side quest, though. Up next is the doomer coomer. This is a coomer who has pretty much isolated himself from the world. He doesn't really talk to his family or friends very much. He's not interested in finding a girlfriend. He is mostly just focused on cooming. If he doesn't coom to Daughters of Mnemosyne, Night Shift Nurses, Humpbang, Lunatic Night, Nami SOS, Mezzo Forte, Opie Life, he at least knows about them. The Doomer Coomer stage might be one of the longest lasting stages in the average coomer's life, and a lot of coomers will stop there. But after the Doomer Coomer, potentially comes the purely pixelated coomer. PP coomer for short. Now, this is somebody who can only coom to hentai, or at least uses hentai about 95% of the time, and then the other 5% is like the Asian teenager category on RedTube. There's many reasons a coomer may transition to this stage. Maybe they've finally come to terms with the fact that no 3D women on OnlyFans are going to sleep with them, so they're better off fantasizing about 2D women who can't sleep with anybody. Maybe they've fallen victim to the benefits of animation, and their darkest fetishes can truly only be fulfilled through animation. This is where you'll see your lolicons, your Guro fans, your Sonic inflators, your body morphers, your furry Voran scat lovers. Sometimes they may even branch out into different types of hentai that they didn't even think they would like, just for the sake of like exploring their new pastime to the fullest. For example, they might watch yaoi while not being gay, or so they've convinced themselves. I would refer to this as a branch off of the purely pixelated coomer, known as the tutti frutti phase. Now, once people make it to the PP coomer stage, they are usually too broken to go any further, but at this point, some people may retreat into their imagination because there are no drawings left on the internet to fulfill their fantasies, and they never learned to draw themselves because they were too busy cooming. This is the stage of the enlightened coomer, where the only porn that can stimulate them exists only within their own mind. This coomer has likely completely destroyed his life. He probably has no job, no training, essentially a neat hikikomori, doesn't talk to his parents much, doesn't really talk to anyone but himself as he's getting himself off. At this point, if he ever does talk to a 3D woman ever again and she asks him if he's one of those chauvinistic pigs who objectifies women by watching porn, he can tell her, "No, actually, I am reformed." Now we've really gotten to the bottom of the coomer iceberg, so the following specimens do not currently exist, they are only theoretical. This is the infinity coomer. This is a coomer who not only exists inside his or her, but likely his own mind, but he's also managed to place cooming on the negative first layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, meaning that if he stops cooming, not only will he die, but his entire identity will evaporate from this world. His mother will forget she ever had a son, his friends will forget that he was ever a part of their circles, and most importantly, his waifu will have never loved him. However, this creates the infinity coomer's dilemma, because although he would love to keep cooming, obviously, if he does disregard this need, the erasure of his identity from this world will cause a disruption in space-time, opening a black hole, and there's nothing coomers love more than holes. Naturally, he will enter the black hole, and time will stop for him and him alone, allowing him to coom indefinitely. Alternatively, the rift in space-time will cause an alternative universe to open, one where the fifth dimension is visible to the human eye, and this will bring on an onslaught of five-dimensional coomers who are so enamored with electromagnetism that they're no longer pleasuring themselves to sexual stimuli, but rather the stimuli of the beauty of the universe. When you really think about it, it's not the hentai that's the problem, it's the parts in between the hentai. All hentai does is provide dopamine hits, and those would be fine in and of themselves, but the problem comes when those dopamine hits end and you come down from that high and you realize that you have to deal with relationships and your job and just life in general. The shame that comes after cooming is the demoralizing part, so maybe we just need to eliminate the after. Maybe in the coming years with VR and AR and NTR, you can just exist in hentai and become a hentai character yourself. Your dopamine receptors will be altered so that a tolerance is never built. You'll live happy and you'll die happy. You'll be able to skip post-nut clarity and jump straight into post-nut prosperity. But maybe all of that should be avoided. It's hard to say. Leave your thoughts in the comments.
Our favorite number 7. 7-Eleven, bitch! God damn, let me go open this. See what the fuck going on. What in the fuck is this motherfucking bag? Oh my god! Motherfucking Newports, nigga! Newports! I'ma be the richest nigga in the hood. Give me this goddamn motherfucking bag, I'm hauling ass, bitch!